and I went all in on my 350 and I made 3K. I made 3K from 350 and I was blown.
And we're live. Welcome back to another episode of the BluFX Trader Profit Series. Now, for those of you who don't know and watching for the first time, this is where we take you into a little bit more of a personal look into BluFX and our traders who represent us on our platform. Now, today we've got another fantastic interview. Do you want to give yourself a little bit of an introduction? Take it away, a bit of your trading history, a bit of your background overall.
Hi, Chris. My name's Ali. I'm from East London. Well, my trading background journey actually started almost 2 years back. It's been a crazy journey for me, to be honest, in the market. You know, as a retail trader, learning as a newbie, all the usual stuff that everyone knows, you know, losing money and all sorts of things, and, you know, taking signals. Been there, done that, and eventually I had to overcome all this stuff that I've learned from all these gurus and stuff. And mentally and physically, it drains you, to be honest. If you're not with the market correctly and learning the right content of the market, it messes you up.
Sure. I feel like that journey from entering the markets for the first time, maybe finding about Forex from maybe somebody you know, or finding it through social media, and you don't know any better at that time. And sometimes that can lead you down the path of signals. Sometimes it can lead you down the path of, you know, like gurus, like you mentioned. But the fact is, we're here today together, and I can say to you now, like, you've come from that journey, from that position, and you all of these things, and it is draining. It's so draining, but you've progressed, you persevered, and you're here today to talk to me about your trading history. Now, I want to break things a little bit down for you before we move on. How long have you been trading now? And sort of, when did you start trading, and how did you even find out about trading in the first place?
It was really funny for me. Basically, it was almost 4 years back. I knew about Forex. A friend of mine introduced me to a network marketing program.
Right.
It was an individual person, you know, he was basically putting your money, and he would do all the trade and all that. And that's it, really. And one of my mates said he's getting a great return and whatnot. And then he goes, put some money in, you're going to get X amount every month or every week, this, that. And to be honest, when I looked into what Forex was, immediately I realized this is not something that, you know, you should actually, it's not something that you need someone else to trade for you. Right. It's something that you should learn yourself, and you can, you know, do the same thing. Because before that, I didn't know, you know, what Forex was. So then I realized it didn't take me that long to figure out, no, because people at that time, you know, about 4 or 5 years back, you know, people don't know about the market and Forex. They don't have a clue.
Of course.
They think you give your money to someone and it'll make you a bunch of money. But then come to realize, I quickly actually learned that, no, this is something actually quite interesting. I can do this myself. Then I realized I took my money out, and then, you know, I've learned about brokers. I've learned all that, and then put some money in, learn about indicators. And I think the first system that I learned was the Ichimoku system.
Ichimoku card, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly saying, it was mind-blowing. My first ever trade that I took, I deposit £350, and based on the Ichimoku strategy, at that time, 4 years back, I think GB was bearish. And I went all in on my 350, and I made 3K. I made 3K from 350, and I was blown. And, you know, I thought I've learned the secret.
You thought you cracked it. Yeah, I think we've all been there. I feel like that's a very similar story to my own. And going back to what you were saying earlier about how you enter into the Forex markets, and you think the thing to do, what people do, is to give your money to somebody else. Now, obviously I'm going to say there's no real replacement for learning your own strategy and learning how to do it properly. That is where you're going to get the most rewards if you put the time and effort to learn Forex. But I think it comes back to that age-old thing where for a very long time, finance, money, investing, stocks, commodities, Forex nowadays, it was always seen as something that only, the Wall Street boys could do, or, Canary Wharf in London, or big financial people. But nowadays, I think finance and investing in general, but especially at BluFX, is becoming more accessible to people. And people are able to learn about how to invest their money, how to trade Forex, that sort of stuff. And obviously they can apply that to their own finances and situations. I mean, trading has allowed so many people to have a sort of completely different source of income. But if you told my dad when he was my age that you can trade currencies on the markets and you can trade and make money from it consistently, he wouldn't have believed you, because it was just that preconception about how finance and money is for, very, very clever people who have got years and years of studying. But realistically, if you put the time into learn a Forex system and you find something that works for you, then anybody can get involved in the markets. And that is kind of what we're all about at BluFX, like making it accessible to people and making people understand that those times where it was just for an exclusive set of people and you have to give someone your money to look after, those times are gone. They're not here anymore. Like, things have changed and they're progressed in a good way. So it's interesting to hear how that was kind of like your first introduction to the markets. Now, I want to move on to a little bit about your trading in general. You've already mentioned indicators, but before we get into indicators, I want to ask you, do you have sort of a favorite pair you trade? Is there a pair that you have the most success with? A pair that you like trading? You're in the UK, you're in London. Maybe you're going to trade the pound a lot. What's your favorite pair you trade?
Well, in terms of currency, to be honest, I stick to a couple of pound pairs. Then, ultimately, to be honest, I realized, look, if the mindset is there to make money and if the system is there and everything, you can make money from one single asset. Like now, I've just stuck to gold.
Gold.
Even though I have a signal on my system to buy a certain currencies on pounds, I do it occasionally, but then I'm trying to focus on gold and, stopping myself from trading certain signal. It's also giving me a discipline that I can control myself. So right now it's just basically I'm just sticking to gold.
Interesting. I feel like gold's in an interesting place at the moment as well. Like, gold fundamentally, technically, there's a lot going on in gold at the moment. When we were recording this, we had a big rally in gold up to around 1900, and then it's obviously sort of come down. It's been hit quite hard on the back of some positive news, some fundamental themes. So I guess gold, it does follow a fundamental theme, like that risk on, risk off appetite. But we mentioned before we started rolling, like, gold kind of has its own mind sometimes. Like, you think it's really close to the dollar, but then sometimes you look at the times where the dollar was the strongest back historically, gold was at a very high price as well. So you've got to keep your eye on the ball. And I feel like with that systematic approach that you follow with your indicators, it's the first time that I've come across a BluFX trader who trades in a very, very similar way to myself. So it's interesting to see how you've come across and how you feel about indicators and how I have had a similar experience. I want to break that down a little bit. Obviously, when I trade it with my indicators, there is some human aspects to my system, but I try and limit that to the best of my ability. The powerful thing for indicators for me is they give you a very, very clear instruction on what to do in the markets. There's no more hearsay or what I think might happen. It's if I'm told to do something, that's what I do. I want to talk to you about that a little bit. Do you think indicators the reason why indicators are powerful, in my opinion, is if you have a set of them that works and you put the time in to backtest them and make sure they're working together, you can then apply that to a system which is scalable. You know what's working, what's not working. And obviously, you are acting almost like a robot in a sense. You're just told what to do. Go long, go short, exit here, enter here, etc. What's your experience trading with indicators? Do you have a very similar experience to me in the sense that it's just like being told to do something, an instruction, it helps you keep discipline within your system? Is that your experience as well?
Yeah, pretty much exactly the same, because what I've learned throughout my 4 to 3 years, I've tried hundreds of strategies, trend line, tried Fibonacci, tried, moving average. I've tried everything, to be honest, and it wasn't working for me. it didn't work. Then, I came across a certain channel on YouTube. I think you're aware of VP.
From Analysis Forex, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, there is genuine people out there that genuinely giving the right content about the market and what a individual should do. And I found his channel, and there's few other people that I found on YouTube. They were really legitimate, and there's only few people out there, to be honest. Most of them are the Instagram ones. They show you this, they show you that, and then that's it. They want your money. But there's genuine contents out there. And what I've realized, system is the way.
Of course.
On the long run, if you see, market has a cycle, everything has a cycle, time, and day over it. And then on top of that, if you build, obviously main thing is it's your mindset that you have to deploy over the years and months. Is actually every trader makes mistake. You are going to lose. You are, going to win. But ultimately, it's the screen time and the system that you build that will guide you through eventually your experience that you have. If you don't have a system, for instance, if you follow trend line, you put a trend line across the board. When it breaks the trend line, what do? You can see its price has gone up, but then what happens next?
Right.
Price, if you're not on the cycle, if you don't know the cycle, then all it's going to do, as it sounds, trend line's going to break, and then the price will go back to its original trend. But then, it might move 50 pips. Yeah. But then after that, the monthly or the weekly, if the bias is bearish, then it's a pullback, and then it's going to just come back to its original trend. But if you don't have a system, what will happen is basically you're not going to know what's going on a long-term point of view. The beauty of having a system is that it guides you through the actual cycle and helps you to improve your trade.
That's it. And actually,
that's what it is.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear it. I think we have a very similar experience. But I wanted to ask you, actually, you've mentioned something that rings a bell, and I know already from what we spoke about before we started rolling. You mentioned screen time and how so important that was. That was something that a trader called Amir, who is one of our fund managers, $1 million account holders, mentioned.
Yeah.
And you told me before that you came through BluFX, you found out about BluFX, you were inspired to join BluFX from his story.
Yeah, it was amazing, to be honest. He was quite amazing as well. And, what he was saying, all his stuff he was saying, I watched his video a couple of times. The bullet line I took from him is that it's yourself. It's yourself and the screen time that you've put in and the discipline, because one of his main indicators are RSI, right? And RSI is a bit crazy as well, oversold, overbought. But then I realized he's got a discipline, and the money management side is there, and the discipline side, and he's sticking to his plan. He's got a specific structure, and he's done amazing. And what you can see, if you see his video and you see what he mentioned is true. If you're wrong on the trade, then that means you've done something wrong.
Exactly.
You've done something wrong. It's not working. Then you have to go back and do your back testing, and it gets you, as you said, every trader will get there, but it's more towards money management and discipline.
Right. Interesting. And I feel like Amir was a big champion for that. And he, the RSI is something that I know a lot of traders use. I haven't had much success with it myself. But if you have that discipline and money management down, I don't want to say it's a 90%, but it's a lot of, the strategy is important, of course. But even with a bad strategy, even with a bad tools in the sense of, let's say the RSI is not a good indicator, or you don't have a good indicator in your system. If you have the right mindset, and right mentality, you're halfway there already. More than halfway there. That's the most important thing. Now, in a minute, we're going to jump on the charts and you're going to show us a little bit of your analysis. But before we get into that, I want to ask you just a bit about your experience about BluFX in general. What package are you on at BluFX right now? Are you on the Lite or on the Pro? And What is sort of like your short to medium term goals of the BluFX platform? Are you looking to grow your account to like Amir did, to that $1 million level? Or are you just looking to take out your profits regularly? What's sort of your plan with BluFX right now?
Well, to be honest, my plan with BluFX was, to be honest, to get to the £1 million account. And that was my main goal. And with Amir's story, and that inspired me, to be honest. And, that pushed me a bit. With BluFX, I'm on the pro account. And honestly saying, all the drama that I had in trading, losing so much money, and then coming across BluFX, I thought to myself, hold on, if I'm honest with myself, if I know how to trade, then surely, going to BluFX, because I was hesitating. First, I was hesitating. Then I realized if I'm there yet on trading, then it's a challenge for me to sign up with BluFX and hitting my 5% every month. Then if I can do that with that leverage, then I know it's something I'm doing is right.
Exactly.
And that was a challenge itself. I'm taking on myself. And, it's great. With BluFX, I would say it's one of the best solution out there. The reason being, the 10% drawdown, and, because at the end of the day, you need that room to play about with.
Of course, yeah. We recognize that losing is a healthy part of any trader's like day-to-day life. Like we all have losing days, we have losing weeks, and we have losing streaks as well. So the important thing is to recognize that we are on the side of traders. The platform itself is built by traders, and we know what is important to a trader. We know that it's not realistic to just have winning trades every single day. So having that 10% drawdown as a maximum is there. Not to mention, obviously, we have that refinancing option. So if you drop anywhere from the starting balance 10% below it, you pay £50 and you top right back up to where you started. And that doesn't matter what type of account you're on or what level of funding you're at. So losing and handling losing psychology is a big part of trading. It's all very well winning trades, but if you're not protecting yourself against future losses, then you're not going to be able to keep that profit in your account, because that's the most important thing. It's being able to make money and then keep it, not give it back to the market, which is so important. Now, if you don't mind, what we're going to do now, we're going to stop the recording and we're going to jump on and have a look at some of your chart analysis. All right, so we're over at the charts. We're lucky enough to have Ali share some of his chart analysis for us today and what he looks at when he wants to enter into a trade. Now, from earlier on, we spoke to Ali and said he's big on gold and trading gold. So we're having a look at the 30-minute chart on gold today. Ali, take it away, chop up the charts and tell us what you see.
Yeah, hi, Chris. So basically, I'm only trading based on my system signals that I get. And the system that I have, it actually adopts to the market cycle and it's in real time. There's no lag. Basically, there's no lag on the system. So what I actually mainly focus is when I get the signal and then when I see my system giving me some sort of support or resistance on the price, then I work out based on my bias side on long term where the market could go from the current price.
Right.
So basically, if you can see, I've got this green line and then the blue line and then the red line. And then you've got this blue box consolidation the system gives. Then you've got the signals there coming. This is like a pullback. So ultimately, it is your mindset that you have to develop how the market works, and then things would follow. Whether you're building a system or a strategy, then things will come. So for me, everything's custom. I'm using bits and pieces of things, and majority of my system is custom built based on what I think the market's going to do. And based on that, I've developed custom indicators based on my understanding. So example is I took this gold, this entry here.
That's a good one.
Monday, I was, from yesterday, I was in. It wasn't moving, but then I realized that it comes down to your screen time experience, to be honest. What happens to the market, where the market is and what it did. So based on your screen time and your system, eventually you can actually easily tell what the market is going to do next at that given price. So basically, look, as we can see, my system gave the blue box, it was consolidating, and I realized on the 4 hour, this is the 80% level. What people don't realize sometimes is based on the trend, whatever the trend is at that given time. If the market is moving high, if it's bullish, then that means even at the 80% level, look what happened. The market just rallied up. So a lot of the time, traditional indicators will be oversold here and you'll be thinking, oh, it's selling time. But no, it actually rejected it gave you support at the 80% level and then it kept moving high. So I was firm on my entry. I kept my entry and I actually added more on right there. This is my baseline and I've actually added more trade. And then eventually I think I cut off somewhere down 17.95. I just thought, because I thought I need to sleep. If the market's going to move higher, I can catch it at London session. You know, if my system's telling me it's bullish, that's the beauty of actually creating a system, is that if the market's going to go if it's a bullish market and it's going to go, then you can catch it every time at London session or even at New York, because your systems is in tune with the actual market.
Right, and it's in real time, as you say. I mean, that trade you just showed me there looks excellent. You've obviously done very well with that. This is obviously one of the lower time frames, but that break there of your baseline, you've got that convincing move to the upside, and then obviously you've added on that consolidation. That was a solid trade entry, mate. And I think gold is in a very interesting spot right now. I think fundamentally, personally, I feel like it's a very strong position, but obviously we've seen a lot of selling. So, you know, is this a time to get back into gold? Who knows? But I'm really glad to see some chart analysis from you, and it seems like you've got a great system, and it seems to be working really well for you. So congratulations for that. So let's jump back on to the interview. We're going to ask one more question and round things up. All right, so we're back from the charts. We're going to wrap things up now, but I always have one question for our traders when they join us for the interview. Ali, if someone's going to join the BluFX platform, they've seen your amazing story, they want to join BluFX, they want to get involved with trading, what one piece of advice would you give them? What one piece of advice would you think will benefit them most, getting the most out of the BluFX platform?
But to be honest, what can I say? I think BluFX itself speaks for itself, to be honest. You know, as you know, in the market with what BluFX done, to be honest, is amazing, because you've got your fixed leverage. That's the beauty. It keeps you disciplined. Right. Everyone knows staying disciplined, having a plan. I think that's what BluFX comes in. It keeps you disciplined. If a person takes a strategy from somebody or builds a system, I think BluFX is the right place, because emotionally, it's not going to kill you, because the leverage and the money management is taken care of with BluFX. So all a trader needs to do is focus on his strategy and the mindset. He needs to develop his mindset. And I think BluFX gives you that room with that set lot size and set leverage. Not people, because most of the time in trading, 99% retail traders start off on the wrong side of the market.
Right.
And honestly saying, me personally, with demo account, it didn't work. So with BluFX, the whole plan is set up. Because the 10% drawdown and the fixed lot size and the fixed leverage, it gives the trader the privilege to actually play with this strategy and build the mindset. So it will keep you disciplined, honestly, and you can go far in, and you would know how the market cycle works. With most of the demo accounts, you know, you're not going to get the feeling, because if you really want to learn Forex, put your money down the line where a sufficient amount that test yourself. And I think BluFX is the right place.
Well, that's a very good review. Thank you for that. I mean, I think, as you say, the money management's there, the leverage and the structure of the risk is there. And I feel like if you're in that position, like you are now, where you've got a profitable strategy that is proven to be profitable over a period of time, then BluFX is the right place for any trader who wants to level up their trading and sort of increase their scope for growth within their trading career. Ali, it's been a pleasure to talk to you today. You've had an amazing story. You're obviously very, very passionate about trading, and I'm wishing you all the best in your trading at BluFX.